There we go. Okay. So, when you go to cut your onion, I cut the tip off, top and bottom of both sides. We're gonna cut in half. Remember, I'm still in control. I'm not trying to do any of that. I am completely in control, okay? You peel the skin off of an onion. You don't keep that on there, okay? That's all trash. There's a bajillion ways to cut an onion. This is just the one way that I do it sometimes when I need to dice it, okay? I cut through, so I have it cut in half, right? It's on its side. I cut right through the middle. Then I make little lines all the way down to dice it, okay? All the way down. Can y'all hear my dog barking and yelling? All right, so I go all the way down. Keep it there. Oops, I said keep it there and it fell. Oh well. All the way down. And then I turn and dice. All right. All right. This is diced onion. Can y'all see that? That's diced onion, okay? There's tons of different fruits and vegetables for you to cut. Another one I have right here. Uh-oh, someone's trying to call me. Can't call me right now. Another one I have right here is an avocado. There's a seed in the middle. You would cut the perimeter of your avocado and twist it open. I don't want to do that right now because I don't want to open my avocado. All right. Is everyone good on your brief knife skills? Raise your hand if you feel good. Do we have any questions? Is Bryson's hand up? We're going to take 2 questions, Bryson and Jake. And Amani. Amaya, I meant. Go ahead, Bryson.
I don't have a question. Amani does.
Oh, Amani?
Yeah, how do you spell Julianne for the thin cut?
I told you. I don't know. Is your parent nearby so they could spell it for you? Julianne?
She can Google it.
Maybe Julienne. Miss Victoria is not a spelling scholar. God gave us all gifts, and spelling's just not one of mine. All right. Jake, you had a question? Yes, sir.
When you cut the onion, do you have to put your thumb on the like sharp part?
Which sharp part? Tell me what I was doing.
This? Oh, he's talking about the spot that you put your hand on, how you put it on part.
This, where I was holding it?
Do you have to do that?
No. That's the great thing about cooking. You don't have to do anything in cooking. The only thing, and I want y'all to write this down, the only thing that's set in cooking is safety. You can never throw water on a grease fire. You can never just hold a knife like this. You can never put frozen things into hot grease. Okay, there are some safety things that are set in stone, but when it comes to cooking, you can do whatever you want. You can be as creative as you want. You can cut things however you want. If you wanted to, if you want to do it sideways, you cut it sideways. You can cut it upside down if you wanted. You can cut it any way that you want. Did that answer your question, sweetie?
Did it answer the question?
Or were you talking about that she had her hand on a little bit of the top part of the knife?
Yeah, that's what
Okay, I guess you had your hand, your finger or something on the top part of the blade, not like what the part that's cutting, but see how you've got your hand on the metal part. And I think that's what he's talking about.
My hand, I'm really bad about fingers. So my pinky and the rest of these 3 fingers, let's sit up a little bit. These 3 fingers are the ones actually holding the knife, okay? Then my pointer finger and my thumb actually go on the top of the blade. This is the bottom, the sharp part. You don't want to touch that. The top of the blade. this is where you need to hold on for dear life, okay? Because
See,
that
I
means
never,
it's
I
your
never do
control.
that. And so that's why I think he's questioning. I never put my fingers on the top of the blade like that.
Okay, so if you take something called Serve Safe classes, okay, when you're in a kitchen with a lot of people, okay, hypothetically, you worked at a restaurant and there are people running into you, and for some reason you were to move, there's no way this blade is going anywhere. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
There's
Not
no
really.
way this blade's going anywhere because you have it in your hand, okay?
Yeah.
That is the safest way. But I mean, your parents are pros at cutting, okay? They've been cutting for long, long periods of time. Y'all need to make sure that y'all are holding this blade safely, okay? And then we're gonna quickly go to Amaya. Yes, ma'am, what was your question?
If you cut a fruit or vegetable, do you have to clean the knife off after you finish cutting a fruit or vegetable?
Do I have to do I have to wash my knife between cutting this one and the onion?
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, cleaning things never hurt anybody, but they're all vegetables. Now, you do absolutely have to clean your knife between meat and fruits and vegetables. That's called cross-contamination. I do a little bit more. I go a little overboard. I don't use the same knife to cut fruits and vegetables as I do my meat. So between meats and produce is what it's called, definitely completely scrub down your knife, or in my opinion, use a whole different knife for that. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so got the knife skills. The next thing we're gonna do, I'm getting a lot of information from some of our parents. It sounds like several of you guys are gonna be baking, okay? And I wanna say your homework this week is about baking. I could be wrong, but even if it's not, we're gonna go through this, okay? I'm gonna make a very quick dessert with you guys. I'll start with this one. Let me see if I can get it moved around. There we go. That's much better. Hold on. Sorry, trying to. All right. So, with baking, I don't need any of this. With baking, there are several things you need to consider. One, I have all my stuff out. I'm about to make a triple chocolate brownie. Doesn't that sound delicious? When you're baking, unless your recipe says otherwise, you want room temperature ingredients. Now, if you're making like pie crust or biscuits, then you don't have to worry about it being room temperature. In those recipes, it's going to tell you for your stuff to be cold, okay? The main thing is read your recipe. Read your recipe. For what I'm doing, my things need to be room temperature. So I took all these eggs out. I have 3 eggs. My oil stays room temperature, just sits on the counter. I got some water in there. That's room temperature. And then a whole bunch of red light foods that we're going to use today, okay? All right, so the first thing I need to do is make my brownie mix. This is a very easy recipe. It's on the back of the box. It is completely okay for you guys to use box items in the cook-off. Completely okay. I don't expect you guys to make homemade everything. It's completely fine. Some box stuff is pretty good. And let me make a note about box things. If you buy something that's a box, like a brownie or something like that, they usually have these things on the side of it. Those are different recipes that you guys can use. My dog's going crazy. Don't listen to her. You don't have to just make these boring old brownies, okay? You can make, what is this? Mississippi mud brownies, peanut butter brownie squares, and then also it says for complete recipes, go to duncanhines.com. So they have even more recipes for you guys to look at. You do not just have to do what's on the box. Miss Victoria almost never does what's on the box. Maybe I should start doing that, paying attention. Pinterest. I know a lot of your parents use Pinterest. That has a lot of recipes on it. This one says easy brownies and cream sandwich cookies. That looks delicious, okay? So anywho, we're just gonna make the brownie mix the way it says. So all I need is 3 eggs. first thing, when you're making brownies, a cake, pancakes, muffins, really a lot of recipes, they usually call for you to do the wet ingredients separate from the dry ingredients, okay? Hold on, I see Jake's hand is up. Hold on one second. All right, Jake, you had a question?
Are all recipes hard?
No, absolutely not. There are some that are hard. There's some that cause for you to cook it for 10 days. I made something called friendship bread, and it took me 10 days to make it. This is going to take me maybe 5 minutes. So no, all recipes aren't hard, not at all. That was a great question. All right, so a lot of recipes calls for you to mix your wet ingredients. An egg is wet. Water, obviously, is wet. This oil, wet. Okay, so we're going to crack our egg. Now, some chefs don't like cracking their eggs into the bowl they're going to use. They say crack them in a separate bowl and then pour them in there. That is a good idea that I just never do, because they don't want you to get eggshells in there. So I'm going to show you a cool way to get eggshells out. Let's say you go to make this box of brownies and you get an eggshell in your eggs. Take the cracked egg, the shell, and use it to scoop it out. I don't think you can see that. There's probably no way for you to see I got that. But you can use the eggshell to get out cracked shells in your eggs. Or you can follow the directions and put it in a separate bowl like people tell you to do. All right, so I'm gonna add the 3 eggs. I have 1/4 cup of water, and then about 1/4 cup of oil. As you can see, I did not measure it. You guys should probably measure things. I never did. Oh, and I'm gonna wash my hands. Whenever you touch eggs, you wanna wash your hands. Give me a second. All right. So another reason that you want to have your wet ingredients separate is that if you mix, if I were to put this little pre-made flour stuffy in there and I mix it too long, it's going to be tough when you bite into it. It's not going to be nice and airy and delicious. It's going to be like, oh, that's a little bit hard. It's not supposed to be like that. So you want to mix this stuff up separately. So I'm going to whisk it. This is my whisk. Who found a whisk when they did their homework last week in the house? Lexi, the Levels, Amani. All right. So you want to whisk this together. Now, this is where creativity comes in. Whenever I use chocolate, I love putting cinnamon in it. So I'm going to grab some cinnamon. I have no idea how much cinnamon I'm putting in here. Maybe a tablespoon. I just put it in there. Mix that up. That's what it looks like. Super simple. And then we're going to just pour our dry ingredients in. Now, this is if you were to use a pre-made box. If you had, let's say your recipe calls for flour, baking soda, baking powder, you're going to use another bowl. Write this down. You're going to use another bowl, mix all those dry ingredients together, and then add it. This little crafty box already had it all mixed in for us. All right. Anybody know why I'm not going to use my whisk to mix this? Anybody? Bryson, you want to take a try at it? Go ahead, Bryson.
You use it on your eggs?
I did, but do you know why I'm not going to use this as I go forward? I'm going to use this instead. This little wooden spoon here. Anybody know? Oh, I see Tessa's hand. Hold on.
Thicker.
Hold on. What did you think, Tessa?
Because it's easier to mix it.
It's easier. You are completely right. It's much easier for me to mix all this stuff with a spoon than it would be for my whisk. It's going to get stuck. inside this whisk, okay? And I'm just going to mix it gently. Again, you don't want to overmix it. I'm getting the edges. Mix, mix, mix. Mix, mix, mix. Now, when you're mixing things, your dry stuff likes to get hidden in those bottom corners. You don't want that. Have you ever been making something, poured it out, and there was still flour that you had mixed in? That's because they got in those bottom corners. So you want to get those corners, get the edges. Don't go crazy with it. Then it'll be too tough, okay? All right, so I've got that done. Move this out of the way. Move this out of the way. Very important thing about cooking, clean as you go. All right. Now, this is the fun part. I usually make this with homemade cookie dough and homemade brownies. Miss Victoria is tired. It's been a long week, and I am not doing that tonight. So, we're going to do something super fun. A really good friend of mine showed me how to make this a long time ago, and I've been addicted ever since. My family loves it. It's definitely a red light food. Definitely. All right, I have some cooking spray. I'm going to get that in all the creases of my pan. A nice and clean pan. If you were baking a cake, you could get a thing of butter. You could scoop a thing of butter, wipe that all the way through your cake pan. I have a cake pan right here, actually. You can get some butter if any of y'all are thinking of making a cake, and wipe that butter all through your pan with your very clean hands, and then pour a little flour and just coat it all over. That makes sense? But I'm going to spray mine. All right, so at the bottom, and this is super cool. I should have left this out for room temperature too. At the bottom, I'm going to just crumble up these cookie pieces. Let me see if I can get closer for y'all to see all this deliciousness that's about to go down. All right, so I'm going to crumble up all these cookie pieces all over the bottom. And they're the little place and bake ones. They have the logs, or if you and your parents want to make it homemade, there's tons of homemade cookie recipes all over the internet and recipe books. So you're just gonna put all that in there. Y'all see all these cookie goodness bits all over? All right, so I'm gonna press all that down. All right. You see all those cookie bits everywhere? Then I have some Oreos. Your parents are probably going to send me text messages about this later. I have Oreos. I did get the thin Oreos. They are the thin ones. And I'm going to put Oreos all through here. And this, Jake's question, this is actually a very easy recipe, especially if you buy the things pre-made. All right, so we're gonna put this here. Let me ask y'all a question while I'm doing this. Is this a dessert y'all should be eating every day? No, no. This is something that you need to have as a treat, maybe once a month. This is not healthy, but it is delicious. All right, so I'm gonna get some more Oreos in here. I wanna make sure there's Oreos everywhere. All right, so I broke up a couple of them so they would fit. Second layer, y'all see all those Oreos on there? All right, then I have some chocolate morsels. And we can't go through it right now, but there are a lot of different types of chocolate. There's semi-chocolate, crap, my mind just went blank. There's other different types, dark chocolate, white chocolate. There's all different types of chocolate out there. So I have, it's dairy-free chocolate because Hannah, our baby, she can't have dairy. And ironically, Oreos don't have dairy in it. Oh, well, these cookies might have dairy in it. She can't have it anyways. Oh, yeah, this has dairy in it. She can't have it anyways. Oh, well. All right, so I got the semi-sweet morsels in there. And then the fudge brownies. Oh, yeah. Somebody's texting me. It's probably one of the parents saying, why would you show this? The fudge brownies. Oh, yeah. And that's going to go all on top. All right, so this is going to take like half an hour in the oven. We're not going to still be on this call when this gets ready to be done. But I do want to show you one more thing about baking. And then y'all are going to do your homework this week as well. So I'm just going to, oh, it's so sticky. I'm just smoothing it out. That's all I'm doing. Smoothing it out. Everyone gets all the same level of chocolate goodiness. Oh, yeah. Now, sometimes I like to sprinkle a little salt on top, but my husband doesn't love it, so we won't do it this time. Y'all see all that goodness? All right, two things. Preheating an oven. All right, we can get up here now. Preheating an oven. It is very important that you preheat your oven if your recipe says that. Okay, so let me look at this one. This one says preheat your oven to 350. This one says preheat your oven to 350. A lot of recipes tell you to preheat your oven because you don't want your food to cook uneven in the oven while it's trying to warm up. Okay, so read your recipe. If it says preheat it to a certain amount, you need to preheat it to that certain amount. Okay, the next thing is you can take a toothpick or a knife, whatever, if your got people still in Oreos, whatever your parent says is okay. And when you think, I knew a parent was gonna text me. It's gonna be so delicious though. You want to take a knife, not my broken bootleg knife, don't worry about this, or a toothpick, and whenever you feel like your brownie, your cake, your bread, anything that started off as a liquid form and it needs to turn into a solid form that's like bread or cookies or something, you're going to stick it straight in the middle. Y'all writing this down? I only see Amani writing things down. Stick it straight in the middle and pull it out. Your knife should be clean. Okay? That means that whatever you have in the oven is done. Okay? Oh, I see a hand. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Yes, ma'am.
If it's not clean, it's not done.
No, ma'am. If it's not clean, it is not done. Okay? So if it comes out, and I'll show you an example really fast. That was a perfect question. If it comes out, and that comes out on it, it is not ready. It needs to go back in the oven. Okay? So when you have something like I said, cookies, cakes, brownies, oh, not cookies, I didn't mean to say cookies, brownies, muffins, cakes and things like that, and you go to put it in there and it comes out wet like this and all ooey gooey like this, it's not ready unless it's like a lava cake, and that's a whole different story. Okay. Another note, since we're talking about things being done and then we need to go very quickly, is if you were cooking chicken, the way you would know if that chicken was ready is you would take a knife, just like, you know, your little fudge brownie knife, and you would cut into it. And if it's still red and bleeding, it's definitely not ready. You do not want to eat bleeding chicken, okay? It needs to run clear. Write that down. Your chicken needs to run clear. That means all the juices that come out of the chicken, if it's clear, see-through, it's ready to go. All right, very quickly, we're going to do rapid fire. Why are you listening? We're going to do rapid fire. I need you guys to just give me an idea. You don't have to know right now. Let's just start brainstorming just for a few minutes. Miss Victoria's electricity went out with that storm, so I haven't been able to finish dinner. So I need to finish dinner. We're going to just brainstorm some ideas. Do not get panicky. Do not get all out of whack if you don't know. but just some thoughts about what you want to cook for the cook-off. The cook-off is June 30th. That is 19 days. That's 19 days from now. That's about 3 weeks from now. Okay, and it's gonna come like that. All right, especially with all y'all's busy schedules and stuff. So let's just get an idea of what you're thinking about cooking. Okay, Amaya, we'll start with you.
What?
Hold on.
What are some thoughts about what you're gonna cook for the cook-off, sweetie?
Some some thoughts are my spinach dip that I made for lunch.
Ooh, spinach dip. A little note about spinach dip. If you're, no matter what spinach you're using, if it's frozen or whatever, if it's frozen, you want to unthaw it. Make sure it's not frozen anymore, and then drain it. Get all that water out. Spinach has a lot of water in it. You don't want a watery dip. If it's fresh spinach, you want to saute it up a little bit and do the same thing. Okay? That sounds delicious. Bring us some good chips with it too. All right, let's go to the Wilsons. Gabby, what are some thoughts? What do you think you're gonna make for the cook-off?
I think I'm gonna make a big Oreo cake.
Oreo cake. Lexi, what about you?
A cake on top of a brownie.
Oh, okay. Where's Elijah?
I want to make tamales.
Tamales. Okay, you've been saying that. All right, we're gonna go over here to the levels. Start with Grace. Grace, you have any ideas about what you're gonna make?
Lasagna rolls.
Ooh, those sound delicious. All right, what about you, Jake?
Either egg rolls or a superhero cake.
I didn't hear what you said after egg rolls.
Or a superhero cake.
Or a superhero cake. That sounds fun. What about you, Tessa?
Either a rainbow confetti cake or mini pizza cupcakes.
Ooh, mini pizza cupcakes. That sounds good. All right. With the lasagna rolls, make sure that you bring them in something that keep it insulated so that it stays hot for the judges. And the same with the egg rolls. Those sound really, really cool. All right, we're gonna go over here to Imani and Bryson. What are your thoughts?
Macarons.
Chicken.
Macarons. Ooh, fancy. What about you, Bryson?
Chicken bulgogi.
Chicken bulgogi. What? Y'all come to win. So there's two different ways of saying it. And I learned somewhere, don't write this down because I don't know if it's a fact, that it's because of the different types of nuts that are in it. But the macarons or macarons or something like that, they're made out of ground nuts. So make sure that you're using some good nuts for that. And then also, this is just a note, if your meal is gonna have like nuts or something in it, let us know when you get to the cook-off because there are people with allergies. Okay, that's gonna be so good. I can't wait to taste it. We had some for the winners last year. Okay, and then Charles. Charles, can you unmute yourself? For some reason, I can't unmute you. Charles, do you know how to unmute yourself? Unmute. Charles. Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Okay, there you are. Charles, do you have some ideas about what you're gonna make?
I
think your internet's getting all kind of funky over there. What'd you say? Oh, you're frozen, Charles.
said cake pops.
Oh, cake pops. Ooh, I love cake pops. The only thing I think with cake pops is I think you're supposed to have the same ratio of cake to icing when you crumble it up. I don't know. I haven't made it that many times. Definitely read the recipe. I'm super excited about that. Okay. Annie, I'm going to see if I can mute you again. For some reason, your little face is doing something crazy.
Oh,
Any questions before we go, guys? Okay, hold on. I see Jake. Yes, sir.
Should be always careful with the stove, a knife, and the burners.
Yes, always be careful. Be careful in the kitchen in general. Anything can happen, especially the animals. Like when I was in here with you guys cutting stuff up, my dog came running in here. You just have to be careful. I completely agree. It's a good note. Okay, I'm excited, guys. Make sure you're doing your homework. Ask your parents to let you see some of the Facebook posts that we're doing. Please do not be last minute. Don't ask your parents. It's not fair to them for you to ask them Monday morning where your homework is. Okay, then they've got to rush and they've got to, try to find things. They've got a lot going on, so just try to be proactive. Okay, everybody give me the thumbs up. Y'all are the best. Have a good night, and I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you tomorrow, Alex.
I'll see you tomorrow.